restricted from doing it. They couldn't do anything. And now they're totally unrestricted. All they have to do is stop crime, and they're doing it. By the way, Memphis, as you know, you heard they went in about a week ago, one of the most dangerous places in the country. It's really in the world. It's not just the country. They have very few cities that would compare to some of these cities. You go to Afghanistan, you say, oh, that's unsafe. Well, the crime numbers are much better than the crime numbers in places that we have. So Memphis, I understand, is doing unbelievably in 1 week. It's like a different place. And this took 12 days, and then after that, we just perfected it. But after 12 days, we had good safety here. After 1 month, it's like, it's really amazing. And by the way, restaurants are booming. Restaurants are opening up. The big problem we have, you can't get into a restaurant in D.C. anymore. So they're opening up. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's called safety. It's called law enforcement and letting them do their job. And that's why I said last month that I have directed the Attorney General and the Department of Homeland Security to confront the very real threat of left-wing terrorism in our country. It's a real threat. Not when you confront it, it's not, because they're not brave people. In fact, they're cowards. When you confront them, they immediately fold. You have to see them fold. You have to see them crying. They fold. But it includes dismantling the networks that fund them and finance them, and we're finding out who those networks are. We already know quite a few of them. When you see these violent incidents and then you see people holding this gorgeous sign with beautiful wood, beautiful cardboard, wood, everything's perfect paint job, and they're all the same. There are thousands of them. You know that they weren't made in the basement out of love. They were made by anarchists, and in some cases wealthy. I'll probably find some of my nice friends that are up there being so nice to me, especially lately. They're being very nice. But it surprises you who they may be, and you almost wonder why would they do it? But they're hurting our country, and we're really taking it back one by one. If we didn't go into Los Angeles early on in the administration, the commissioner, the chief of police, Los Angeles, said if they didn't go in, we would have lost our city. Now, they already lost 25,000 houses to fire because they wouldn't let the water come in from the Pacific Northwest, which they should have done. I said, you better do it. They didn't do it, and we had 25,000 homes where they had no water in the sprinklers, they had no water in the fire hydrants. It would have been a different kind of a thing if they did what they were supposed to do. We had to break in. We broke in and had the water come down. They said for the environment, great, they lost 25,000 houses. It's incredible. But the commissioner said without the federal government and President Trump's intervention, we would have lost the entire city. And we have the Olympics going there soon. I got the Olympics. We have the Olympics. We have the World Cup. And we have, most importantly, we have the 250th anniversary of our country. That's going to be most important. And all of these things are happening. And we're going to have safe cities. We're going to have very, very safe cities. So 1 month after Charlie's death, we still feel the terrible shock and the pain of his loss, like just about nobody I can think of. Charlie Kirk was one of a kind. He was unstoppable. And he really was. Boy, when he had an idea in his head, oh, he would call me, sir, please, you haven't done it yet. I said, Charlie, relax. Just relax. He didn't relax. He'd call me the next day again. It got it done. But he was like indomitable and always will be. He's really irreplaceable. Nobody can replace him. But they're going to do great. But you can't replace that kind of person and that kind of talent, frankly. The word talent is an important word, but that kind of talent. So we hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived, and he really did. He lived for this country. He lived for his wife and his family, but he lived for this country too. In Charlie's honor, we will continue like we have been to fight, and to win. We're going to win so much. So the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a big deal. You have the Congressional Medal of Honor, military, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is civilian. And the Presidential Medal of Freedom is a really big deal. Very few people get it. Very few people, frankly, qualify. It's a decision of the president, but it's a qualification that's a very hard one to get. And I would like to ask, if I might, the military aide to read Charles James Kirk's citation for the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to Charles James Kirk. Accepting on behalf of Charlie is his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk was one of the most influential American political figures of his generation. At just 18 years old, he founded Turning Point USA and grew it into the largest conservative youth organization in the nation. For over a decade, he tirelessly traveled the country leading a movement to restore respect for our founding principles, reawaken our national identity, and inspire a renewed spirit of religious devotion. He was one of the great debaters and communicators of his time. Despite receiving repeated threats, he remained undeterred and modeled courage, logic, humor, and grace to the next generation. On September 10th, 2025, at age 31, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing a group of students. The United States honors him as a martyr for truth and freedom.
Thank you, Mr. President, for honoring my husband in such a profound and meaningful way. And thank you for making this event a priority amid the peace process in the Middle East. Thank you. Very grateful. Charlie always admired your commitment to freedom, and that's something that both of you shared. So thank you. Your support of our family and the work that Charlie devoted his life to will be something I cherish forever, so thank you. To our gracious First Lady in her office for making this event possible, thank you as well. It's beautiful. To Vice President and the lovely Usha Vance, your friendship has been an unbelievable encouragement. Thank you. And to all our friends and family that are here and watching from all around the world, thank you for loving us. Thank you for praying for us and for believing in what Charlie believed.
I couldn't tell if that was like airplane noises passing overhead or if people in the crowd were like murmuring. It was kind of hard to say. All right, that's what I was listening for.
And to our Turning Point USA staff and the Charlie Kirk Show staff, we love you more than you could ever know. And to the Turning Point USA chapters that are watching all across America right now, You are the heartbeat of this future and of this movement. Everything that Charlie built, you guys are the legacy holders of that.
Sorry, I guess I was muted for people on DLive. My bad. What I was saying was what I was trying to like listen closely there for. Like it sounded like either like an airplane was passing overhead, or like the crowd was like whispering amongst each other, like murmuring. It was trying to listen for whether it was an airplane or the crowd. Couldn't really tell.
You are living proof that his mission did not die with him. It lives through you. And Charlie always said the next generation will decide whether freedom endures. And because of you, I know that freedom will endure. It will. And today we're gathered not only to celebrate Charlie's birthday, but to honor a truth that he gave his entire life to defend, and that's freedom. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. He used to love to journal about this topic all the time, and with such a heart postured of gratitude. And he believed that liberty was both a right and a responsibility. And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. And from the time I met him, sitting across from him, being interviewed on politics and philosophy and theology, anything that Charlie loved, any topic he loved. And I just saw the fire in his soul, and there was this divine restlessness within him that came from knowing God placed him on this earth to protect something very, very sacred for all of us. And he never stopped fighting for people to experience freedom. He didn't. Charlie often said that without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth. And I remember in one of his speeches, he told the audience that the opposite of liberty isn't law. He said it's captivity. And that the freest people in the world are those whose hearts belong to Christ. But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right. And in one of his journal entries, he wrote that he wanted everyone to know that you can't have liberty without moral responsibility. Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself. And what's so fascinating about all of this is looking back these past 12 years of Turning Point USA and his mission, there's almost this veil of sacredness. Because what I realize is that while he was building an organization, he was also building a movement. One that called people back to God, back to truth, and a movement that was filled with courage. And ironically, for a man who impacted millions, Charlie never desired to be the center of attention. He just wasn't. My husband was not a man of extravagance. He loved simple but deeply meaningful things. Truly. He loved his late night walks. He loved buying more books than he could ever read because he felt there was no such thing as a book budget. And he loved being able to read to our kids the same bedtime story on repeat because he knew it was their favorite. But to him, that was special. And he loved to sit in the sun on a Saturday morning with his cup of decaf coffee, and his phone was off because he was honoring the Sabbath. And for him, it was that moment to catch his breath and just be in peace because he was unreachable at the moment. And he preferred quiet birthdays. But that never stopped me from telling him. I told him every single year, I said, baby, I love your birthday. I said, because it's the day that God knew the world couldn't go another day without you. And so the rhythm of our usual birthday celebration for him was mint ice cream, mint chocolate chip ice cream. He only had it twice a year, on his birthday and 4th of July. It's just, and then after that, it was back to work as usual. But last year, his one birthday wish was to see the Oregon Ducks play the Ohio State. And they won. Oregon won that night. And it was by far one of the most memorable nights of his birthday experience of his life until today. And so, honestly, President Trump, I have spent 7.5 years trying to find the perfect birthday gift for Charlie. And it's so difficult. And those of you that have spouses or loved ones, you know how difficult it is sometimes to buy a gift for someone that you love, because he wasn't a materialistic man, so that also did not help. But now I can say with confidence, Mr. President, that you have given him the best birthday gift he could ever have. It's such an honor and the recognition of a life lived for defending freedom. And that's what Charlie fought for until his last breath. Across his chest in those final moments, on one of his simple t-shirts that always carried a message, and this one bearing a single word, freedom. That was the banner over his life, and that shirt was a declaration. The same declaration he made in every speech, every campus visit, every time he shared the gospel at a church, every sleepless night that he would spend praying for the youth of this nation and planning for the future of our country, and just impressing upon them that when we defend liberty, we defend the soul of our nation. My husband never told anyone what to say. He never did. He never told anyone what to say. He would just encourage them to think. He would encourage them to think outside of the traditional political labels. He would want them to think in a way that was anchored in wisdom and truth. But he would never tell anyone what to say. Charlie wasn't content to simply admire freedom. He wanted to multiply it. He wanted to multiply freedom. He wanted young people to taste it and to understand it and defend it. He wanted them to see that liberty isn't self-indulgence, it's self-governance under God. He wanted them to see that. And every day I'd see him getting ready for work. He'd put on his cross necklace, he'd put his ring on his finger. And the boldness in his demeanor was always fearlessness. He wasn't afraid. He was never afraid. And his daily actions, whether in office or on campus or at a church, it was always without fear. That was his creed. That is how he lived out every single day. He didn't fear being slandered. He did not. He didn't fear losing friends, I can tell you that. He didn't. He didn't care. He stood for truth and stood for freedom, and he did not, everything else was just noise to him. And it's because his confidence in Christ was absolute. That's why. There was no limit, No limit to what he would have sacrificed to defend freedom for all. And if the moment had come, he probably would have run for president, but not out of ambition. He would only have done it if that was something that he believed that his country needed from a servant's heart standpoint. And Charlie lived only 31 short years. Now he's 32, but on this side of heaven, but he lived. He lived every single second he lived. He filled every single day with purpose, and he fought for truth when it was unpopular. And he stood for God when it was costly, but that's what we're called to do. Surprisingly enough, he did pray for his enemies, which is very hard, but he did. He did. He did. No one else, I mean, I saw him do it. No, he never did it in front of anyone else, but I can attest to that. But he also loved people when it was inconvenient. And he ran his race with endurance, and he kept the faith. And now he wears the crown of a righteous martyr. And for me and for our children, the truth really steadies our grief, because heaven gained what earth could no longer contain: a free man made fully free. And to all watching, this is not a ceremony. This is a commissioning. And my message is simple. I want you to be the embodiment of this medal. I do. I want you to free yourself from fear. I want you to stand courageously in the truth. Listen for the still, small voice of God. And remember that while freedom is inherited in this country, each of us must be intentional stewards every single day. God began a mighty work through my husband, and I intend to see it through. And the torch is in our hands now. It's in mine, it's in yours, it's in all of yours, it's in all the students with Turning Point USA. And before I close, I'll share with you that I asked our daughter what she would like to say to Daddy for his birthday. Excuse me. She said, "Happy birthday, Daddy. I want to give you a stuffed animal. I want you to eat a cupcake with ice cream, and I want you to go have a birthday surprise. I love you," is what she said. And while our son, he's precious, he can't yet speak, in classic Kirk family fashion, his actions spoke louder than his words, and his gift to you, Charlie, and myself for that matter, was deciding to become the man of the house and be fully potty trained at 16 months. But Charlie, baby, I know that you're celebrating in heaven today, but gosh, I miss you. We miss you. And we love you, and we promise we'll make you proud. And Charlie's life was proof that freedom is not a theory, it's a testimony. He showed us that liberty begins not in the halls of power, but in the man of a heart surrendered to God. And so today, as we honor Charlie with this incredible Presidential Medal of Freedom on his birthday, I stand here with tears and just a humbled heart and spirit, because his story reminds us all that to live free is the greatest gift, but to die free is the greatest victory. Happy birthday, my Charlie. Happy Freedom Day. God bless you.
Okay, well, that is the end there. Okay. That was the Medal of Freedom ceremony. Charlie Kirk. Here. Boy. YouTube live control panel. Can I get to it? Oh, well, let me do it. YouTube broadcast just got cut off, got interrupted. All right. There we go. I think we're back. That was very strange. Good. Okay. Looks like we're all right. Okay. Well then, one moment here. Pull up our chats and make sure we're definitely good to go. We are. Okay. Looks like it's good. Let me see if I have anything tagged to start out. We'll get to news. Oh yeah, just Trump like manhandling Macron. Too funny.
A coat and tie. It's usually a flak gentleman. So, interesting change. As we see the president there with the French President Macron in Sharm el Sheikh, the leaders of some 35 countries, according to the president, gathering there for a peace summit. Now there is a bro shake. If ever I've slipped, we won't let go. Okay, you let go. No, I'm.
It's just great. I love it when he does that stuff. Too funny. In Portland, a block away from the ICE facility, Antifa has an encampment where they receive supplies, food, water, medical supplies, masks, and costumes. Who is paying for this? Who indeed? Who indeed?
Portland right now, and it looks like Antifa, the protesters here, have had a shipment dropped off in a U-Haul right here. They're saying it's all the stuff that's been taken away from Rapid Response and from people since they've been out here. So there's a whole U-Haul full of stuff that's been getting dropped off right now of all of the equipment. The past few months of their protests, you have all this stuff that's getting dropped off right here. You have all the inflatables as well that the people have been protesting in. A little strange, they have a U-Haul shipment full of all of the stuff that's apparently been taken away. So stuff's been coming in. There's still protesters out right now. It's like 4 p.m. right now, I believe, and the protesters are starting to show up here to the ICE facility in Portland. I'm here in Portland right now, and it looks...
Okay, hold on. YouTube's giving me some bitrate warning here. I'm gonna try their recommended setting adjustment. See if that helps. Okay. Look at this. Apparently, trans identification among the youth is in absolute free fall. Look at that. Complete reversal of the upward trend from a few years back. Complete about face. Hopefully that continues all the way down to the bottom. Okay. Sorry, just checking on my chats here. Stable now. Okay, very good. Now let me go to Miss Steph's pile. I know there's a lot to get to today. Yeah. Oh, looks like there was some. I completely missed this. A cabinet meeting. Lots of news to get to review from the day here for those just getting off of work for the evening. Okay. We'll start around there. That works. Oh, yeah. Tucker's 4th episode of the 9/11 series is now out.
If you wanted conspiracy theories to flourish after the 9/11 attacks, here's what you'd do. You'd suppress video evidence of the attacks themselves. You'd ship the rubble from the attacks overseas immediately without looking at it. You'd call everyone who disputed the official narrative crazy or a criminal. You'd engage in a campaign of very obvious lies about the attacks. You'd do everything you could to prevent an actual investigation into what happened. You'd avoid any public trials. And when you captured and killed the perpetrator, you'd show no photos or video evidence of the raid that killed him. And then you'd dump his body into the middle of the ocean.
Yep.
Then you'd use the attack.
I mean, when you put it like that. Indeed. Well, I've only seen the first part. Definitely gonna get around to it. I'll watch the rest just to see. But 3 a.m. After the Middle East. Trump here. Okay. Just working at work on the plane, or pardon, on the chopper. Getting off back to the White House to go work some more. I've heard stories, man, like he won't let people sleep. Like he'll wake people up on the plane because he wants to talk to them. Because he's got some new idea that he's just got to he's got to flesh out a little more, and he needs somebody to talk about it with. Yep. Steve Ducey getting an exclusive Mar-a-Lago tour led by Eric Trump, who is promoting his book, but still interesting.
Welcome to Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you very much. Great to have you at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago is
Mar-a-Lago? Did he call it Mar-a-Lago?
No, it's a property we've had in the family for a very long time. We're very proud of.
DJT loves to DJ, but then
it is apparently true. He's always in charge of the music. Yeah, this place is just stunning. We're not going to watch this, but we'll skim through it here just for. Oh wow! Purchased by Trump, 1985. Established the Mar-a-Lago Club, 95.
Well, Steve, it's going to be a little bit of a hard lifestyle to replicate if you can believe it. But no, this property's come a long way. It's really what he did with it's incredible.
and we just heard a plane leaving PBI. You're in the flight pattern here. We're on the drive.
Okay.
Vancouver.
It really is amazing. Such a cool place. All right. Oh yeah, James Comer. Some fresh stuff coming as of this morning, maybe late last night too. We now know the DOJ, FBI, SEC, Treasury, IRS, and CIA knew what the Bidens were doing and had serious concerns about what they were doing.
2020. And Congressman James Comer joins us now. And then to end it all, they give Hunter this retroactive pardon 10 years back. And could there be a more corrupt family in Washington?
No, not really.
No. Not only is the Biden family corrupt, the government's corrupt. This was a huge cover-up. The cover-up may be worse than the crime. Thank goodness for John Radcliffe. Thank goodness that he's finally put the truth out there so the American people can see. This is exactly what Jim Jordan and I had been saying all during the Biden administration when we were investigating the family for their corrupt, it's not even business practices, for their corrupt practice of taking payments from our enemies around the world. And just think about it, Rob, they impeached Donald Trump. The Democrats impeached Donald Trump just for asking if this took place when he was president. And it did take place. And it was there was nothing wrong with that phone call. We've all heard the recording. It was a
so crazy,
perfectly fine phone call. He's doing what I want every president to do: try to root out waste, fraud, abuse, and mismanagement in the federal government. Shame on the CIA for covering this up. Thank you, John Ratcliffe. Now let's get some accountability.
Yeah, well said. Want to get to a couple other things here with you. You're a Kentucky congressman, very rural in your area. The tariff fight has hit farmers pretty hard. Many feeling the wrath of countries like China refusing to buy soy, other products like that. The president eyeing a possible bailout, maybe $10 billion or more to aid
buying the soy. Oh no!
Farmers using some of that tariff revenue to kind of get them through this fight as we try to set up these tariffs. Majority of that goes towards farmers, to soybean producers. How important is this?
Well, it's very important. Look, the soybean farmers aren't to blame in this. They planted that crop assuming that those foreign markets were going to be there. China is the biggest importer of American soybeans. They import anywhere from 25 to 35% of the American soybean crop every year. And they haven't bought a single soybean this year.
Right.
So I think we need to do something to help the soybean farmers, and I appreciate President Trump for looking out for their best interest, and let's try to come up with a solution to this problem.
Want to follow up on something I've been covering with you now for a while. The farmers in your state along the Ohio River and in other states as well have gotten hammered this year. You've had record-breaking floods exacerbated by this government-installed and government-built Olmsted Dam. You were on this program back in April when this happened, talking about how previous administrations never settled disaster claims with all of these farmers who have been decimated by this dam.
Oh, yeah.
And the farmers kind of getting abused by the government on this. Is there any update on this from the Trump White House?
Well, we keep hearing there's movement. There's a judgment fund in the federal government for things like this. And this is a situation where, for no fault of their own, the farmers' lands were flooded. They were flooded by the Corps of Engineers. They made a decision to flood these lands to control the water levels downstream. And it came at a significant cost. Not only did the farmers lose their crops, which they had insurance for, but it created a lot of damage to their farms. It eroded a massive amount of topsoil, which you can't replace. So these farmers had damage, and I feel like it's the government's responsibility to make them whole, because this was a government decision. They didn't consult with the farmers. They just did it. So hopefully we'll get some movement, and I strongly encourage the administration to do something about it.
Hearing some movement. All right. Well, that's good to hear. We're going to stay on that story. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank
you. Jeez, that is messed up. All right. Government's motion filed yesterday in Comey, yeah. Movement in Comey's stuff. Oh, duty. Just scrolled up on it there. Back down we go. All right, let's see. Judge sides with Comey in early skirmish over discovery, limits info that has strict restrictions on defense handling. No joke. Trump went off on Time magazine for their new cover of him disappearing my hair, giving him a super bad underneath angle. Oh, let's see. What did he say? They disappeared my hair and then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Oh, man. They're I bet you he's right. I guarantee you they took their time choosing that photo. Unreal. All right. Third Circuit has blocked the GOP from trying to ensure incorrectly dated mail-in ballots are not counted in elections. Surprise, surprise. Wonder why they do that. Okay. Leader Thune here says they will vote again today on the opening government. We have 55 of 100 U.S. senators voting to reopen. We need 5 more Democrats. Imagine this has already happened, so see soon enough how this turns out.
Like, what happens next?
Well, we're only stuck as long as a handful of Democrats decide they want to follow the leader and play politics rather than do the right thing on behalf of the American people and open up the government. That's where we are here. So we're going to vote again today. We have 55 of 100 United States senators voting to reopen the government. We need 5 more Democrats. It takes 60 to do most things in the United States Senate, and all we need is 5 Democrats. But their leadership is intent on pacifying and trying to appease this far-left base. They've got this big rally coming up next Saturday, which everybody thinks they want to get behind them before they
this shit.
do anything to open up the government. But it's really straightforward.
No kings thing.
I mean, this is the legislation right here. It's 24 pages long. It is clean. It is nonpartisan. It has no policy writers, no partisan gimmicks. This is a straightforward way to open up the government. It has passed the House. It is sitting at the desk in the Senate. We can pick it up and pass it today. The president will sign it into law today. The government opens up, and all these questions about who gets paid, who doesn't get paid, which agencies and departments are going to be prioritized, those all go by the wayside. It is that straightforward. We are trying to open up the government. The Democrats are not. They are playing politics. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.
But will it? No. Nope. GOP faces pressure to scrap filibuster for spending bills amid shutdown fight. Yeah. See.
Reopen the government. Chad Pergram joining us from Capitol Hill. All right, Chad, is there any change in the math?
Well, Stuart, the math remains the same, and that means the government is still shut down. Republicans hope this week is an inflection point on the government shutdown. They believe a combination of missed paychecks and mass firings could force Democrats to accept their position and reopen the government. Democrats say federal workers want them to fight.
They want to see Democrats stand up to Trump. They want to see us fighting Trump, but they also recognize that ultimately there will need to be a negotiation and a compromise here to reopen the government.
Now, in order to reopen the government, Democrats insist on money to offset the cost of Obamacare. Premiums are about to spike, but Republicans say this was the problem with Obamacare from the start. They want to repeal and replace Obamacare.
The Democrats put this in place. They've had an end date, and they're admitting that Obamacare doesn't work. This is a huge admission. And subsidies, when you add more subsidies, you get higher prices. We've been subsidizing Obamacare for 15 years. All we have are higher prices.
Now, Senate Republicans have failed to convince enough Democrats to break a filibuster. That's why some Republicans want to eliminate the filibuster, specifically on spending bills.
You could do it in a very finite way that just funds the government, get a majority votes like they've done for Trump's nominees to the courts and to his confirmations, and let's get it done. Soon change the rules, pass the bill, fund the government, let everybody get paid.
Yeah.
Now, House Democrats return to Capitol.
Yeah. What do the betting markets say again? Another, at least like another 3 weeks. That's the prediction. Now that Trump has unleashed Russ Vought, Democrats are calling him the Grim Reaper. Really? Are they really?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Denny Hoyer called him the Grim Reaper, huh?
Every authoritarian leader has had his Grim Reaper.
Oh, boy.
Russell Vought is Donald Trump's Grim Reaper. Trump even posted a bizarre video describing Vought in those terms. That's who he wanted, a Grim Reaper. Grim is defined in the dictionary as sinister, savage, and ferocious. a trauma causer. Reaper is defined that which is used to cut down. Vogt swings his scythe through the federal government
His scythe.
as thoughtlessly and dangerously as Elon Musk and the Doge children did with their chainsaws. The effect, sadly, has been the same. Great damage to the government, the American people, and the morale, psychological well-being, and efficiency of the patriotic American workers we call federal workers who serve them.
Yeah, okay, buddy. Penny Horror's an idiot. Total retard. Shocking. Okay. Greetings. Hello, Great Paw out there in YouTube. And everyone else. Missy. John. Tubular Mindwave. Red 50. New Society. And everyone in D Live. Hello, hello. Dynamics, Dear Man, Cold Steel, Susie, Easy Patriot, Mike SP, Vinny, and others I know I'm missing. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Oh. All right, where were we here? Let's keep in through the day's news. Panic worsening among Democrats after it sinks in just how many House seats are going to be going our way in 2026.
Actually represents pretty accurately, mathematically, how the country's divided over the question of the presidency. But if you look at this is what the party pickups would be for congressional districts. Republicans, 5. Missouri, 1. North Carolina, 1. Ohio, 2 or 3. Indiana, 1 or 2. Florida, still discussion down there, but that could be another gold mine for them if they tipped it even further their way. Kansas 1, New Hampshire 1, and Nebraska. Democrats, Utah, California, Maryland. Look at this. If you offset California and Texas, Missouri and Utah, North Carolina and Maryland, everything left over is an advantage to the Republicans. And don't forget, the Supreme Court is considering what could really be the end of the Voting Rights Act, which would protect minority groups.
Gasp. Oh, no.
So you don't have a state that's half black, for example, that elects only 1 congressional member and everybody else goes to the Republicans that would represent that population in some ways. So if that is gutted, Democrats could lose 19 seats. This would be a huge amount. But this is also a measure of how much the White House is concerned about this, because Donald Trump knows if the Democrats get the House again, there could be new investigations just like last time. There could be a new impeachment. There could be a lot of impediment to these plans that right now the Republicans in the House and Senate are letting run like a freight train.
Yeah.
Hold on. Ooh, dang. Sorry, I'm like I'm shopping online while I'm doing this. We're multitasking, okay? Chill out. I caught a nice deal on an SSD. Ooh. There's no way they're selling that thing that cheap. There's no way. No, I don't buy it. There's no way. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent reveals he's going hard on rooting out Antifa. Okay. Ooh, cool. This sounds interesting.
And we are going to,
bookmarked,
as they always say, follow the money. When you see these groups where all the signs match, they have hundreds of the same umbrellas that they're using. You know, after they cause the mayhem, they have the same lasers that they're using to blind our police force. How are they constructed? Because this takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of organization, and we are going to do that. We have started to compile lists, put together networks, and there's a long record here. And we don't know how much of the support's coming in from overseas. We don't know how much being supported by U.S. nonprofits, C3s that give money to C4s. but this is mission critical for us now, just as after 9/11 and Osama bin Laden, the ultimate culprit, was captured. We are operationalizing this here at Treasury, and we are going to track down who is responsible for this. So Charlie's death has set this off, and we are determined not only to honor him, but to keep our country safe and to ensure freedom of speech on both sides. That we can't, as conservatives, we can't be afraid to go out and speak. I know people are canceling speeches. They're having to bring down the size of the rallies. President Trump was millimeters away from death, and he was not deterred, and we're not going to be deterred.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we got Speaker Johnson here. Next, this brief clip.
And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa. And $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that. And they would send $500 million.
Yeesh. Come up with any damn excuse they could think of, I think. I wonder, by the way, where all that money was really going. And who it was really funding. Starting next week, X is going to apparently begin experimenting with displaying new information on profiles. Oh, including the country an account is based in. On a handful of X team members' profiles to gather feedback. I kind of like that. I personally would like to know where people are actually posting from. Generally, I mean, not an exact location, but very curious about how many people are on X claiming to be from the United States. You know, when you go to their profile, they list their location here as United States. But are they actually? Reducing inauthentic engagement on X. That seems to be the idea. It goes, it shows the number of username changes over a span of time. That's good. Wonder what else. Very curious to see where, by the way, what nations a lot of these fakers trace back to. I guarantee you there's a lot of them. Know it. Wonder where they're all being run from. Maybe we'll find out soon. Tish James' story goes from bad to worse to, well, just absolute farce. Oh, surprise, surprise. New York Times defending alleged fugitives and, now fraudsters. Tisha James among them. Oh, yes, that's right. Letitia James purchased her $137,000 home for a grandniece. It was just, she was just being nice. She bought it for a grandniece why you ask? Oh, because the grandniece needed tranquility. I wish I had a family member who'd just buy me a freaking house in New York because I need tranquility. I need tranquility. Anyone want to buy me a house in New York? I'll take it. I need tranquility, you guys, okay? I need it desperately. Come on, Letitia, where's my house? Yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that one bit. Sorry. Nope. Not her. Not her, anyway. Maybe other people, and I've certainly known very kind people over the course of my life who maybe would do that for a grandniece, but somehow I don't think Letitia James is one of them. CNN even calling out Hakeem Jeffries to his face on the government shutdown. Okay, why not? Let's see it. This lady?
No discussions. Donald Trump has held them back from even having a meaningful engagement to try to find
You're
common
right down
ground.
the hall from Mike Johnson's office. I know exactly where you are. You could probably take a few steps and go knock on the door and talk to him. Have you tried that?
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation with me.
What? What?
Or Leader Schumer.
Speaker Johnson hasn't been given permission to have a conversation with you?
And he said as much earlier today.
So you don't think he would talk to you at all?
We can have a conversation, but the problem is...
But you just said that you couldn't.
They get the green light to actually have a meaningful discussion to try to find common ground and a bipartisan path forward and a willingness to address the damage that Republicans have done to the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people, then of course any informal discussion is going to be not fruitful. Meetings, no discussion.
Well, yeah, I mean, with an attitude like that. And a room temperature IQ to boot. Certainly doesn't help. Obama was recently in London again. How about that? Oh, is that who I think it is? Oh, no. Thought I recognized someone else with him, but maybe not. Given the UK and CIA's involvement in anti-Trump conspiracy masterminded by Obama, would sure be interesting to know whom he met privately and what was discussed. Indeed! Black woman security. Black woman security. Ultra safe. Ultra capable. Obama to London crowd. Oh, okay. So I guess he also attended a speaking engagement of some kind while he was there. Can we just see it? Can we get to read it? Just show me the video, please. Is it?
Obama to London crowd. Truth matters.
Oh no, this is just like an audio reading of the article. Oh, how dumb. Well, anyway, he was at the speaking engagement at the O2 Center in London, at which he said, give me some quotes, please. America stands at an inflection point. Warned that violence emerges when whatever systems we've built to mediate our differences break down. Oh. Wonder whose fault that would be. The post-war consensus, born from the ashes of global conflict, was always a fragile experiment. And yeah, he'd know. And Obama explained that complacency allowed disillusionment to fester. Oh, Obama contrasted two stories of America, one rooted in blood and soil. Oh, yeah, Charlotte. He's still stuck on Charlottesville, huh? And another in the promise of equality. Yeah. Yep. Sure, buddy. Oh, man, he really just slathered it on thick, didn't he? Whipped out the old butter knife and went to town. All 20 hostages are back and feeling as good as can be expected, Trump posted. A big burden has been lifted, but the job is not done. The dead have not been returned as promised. Phase 2 begins right now. Ooh.
Broadening this out for a moment.
Back to Obama.
President Obama scolding Hispanic voters, waving the finger that supported President Trump in 2024 over inflation concerns. Listen to this.
If you are a Hispanic man and you're frustrated about inflation, and so you decided, you know what, all that rhetoric about Trump doesn't matter. I'm just mad about inflation. And now, you know, your sons are being stopped in L.A. because they look Latino.
What?
That's a test.
Danielle, I am not the
absurd
political expert here. That's you. Do comments like that actually help Democrats win back more of the Latino vote? You know, those condescending, scolding comments?
Absolutely not. And here is the proof. During the campaign, he scolded black men, and that certainly didn't help the Democrat Party. Now he's come out again, and he's scolding Hispanic men. You know, the former president is completely out of touch. His party failed the American people, and that is why President Trump won in historic fashion, and he performed better among these diverse groups than any Republican had in the past. And what we know is that Hispanics overall support President Trump's agenda, whether it's being tough on crime, whether it's securing the border, or whether it's his economic policies. Hispanics are better off. They were better off during the first term, and they are certainly better off in President Trump's current administration as a result of President Trump's success.
Danielle, we got a lot in there. Thanks for joining us here on a busy Tuesday morning. We appreciate it.
A strong statement from the Pentagon Press Association. Whining, what about this time? Noting, that most members on Wednesday will have their credentials confiscated by the Pentagon and won't be given new ones because the reporters can't and won't acknowledge a policy that gags Pentagon employees and threatens retaliation against reporters who seek out information that has not been pre-approved for release. Quote unquote. All right. Pentagon access is a privilege, not a right, Pete Hegseth says. So here is Department of War press credentialing for dummies. Press no longer roams free. Press must wear visible badge. Credentialed press no longer permitted to solicit criminal acts. Pretty simple. All right. Interesting. Media outlets, including Fox News and CNN, refused to sign the Pentagon's press access rules. I mean, I don't know. I need to look at the details of this thing again. When I remember, there were certainly things that I would just possibly object to. Other things that are just kind of, okay, reasonable, but I understand the point of it. It's obviously intended to prevent and root out the people who have been just engaged in leaking just with abandon for decade plus on end. And that of course in and of itself, at least under the current admin, will be a good thing. But what about other ones? What about future ones? Never know. It could get really nasty really quick. Saying. AP refusing to sign on to Hegseth's new Pentagon press policy, preventing them from freely roaming the halls, jeopardizing sensitive info. Statement from New York Times. Let's read. Journalists from the New York Times will not sign the Pentagon's revised press pass policy, which threatens to punish them for ordinary news gathering protected by the First Amendment. And I think there is a reasonable case for that in some cases. There's cases to be made on both sides of this, unfortunately. It's a tough one. Since the policy was first announced, we have expressed concerns that it constrains how journalists can report on the U.S. military, which is funded by nearly $1 trillion in taxpayer money annually. The public has a right to know how the government and military are operating. The Times is dedicated to pursuing the public interest through deep, fair reporting and an unwavering pursuit of the facts. I'm Richard Stevenson, Washington Bureau Chief. Hello, Frank Ducks in YouTube chat says, I used to watch the drops and talk to some of you guys back then. I hope everyone's been well. Great to be back. You bet it. Bet it is. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, we've been back maybe about 2 weeks now, thereabouts. But we've been around the whole time. I mean, we never really went anywhere. We just got booted from YouTube. We've been broadcasting the whole time on DLive and Rumble, so make sure you go watch us there. The Atlantic's journalists will also not sign the Pentagon's press policy. Is there anyone that is? CBS News will not sign. Fox News, I guess, will not sign either. I don't know if we're going to get to them too, but NPR joins New York Times, CNN, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and Newsmax. Newsmax too. Yeah. I'm not surprised by that. I would think that pretty much every press organization out there is basically going to be against this. And I don't think it's exactly right to hate on anyone doing so. I think it's easy to when it's people like the Washington Post and New York Times, right? It's certainly easy to hate on it and just brush it off. But I do think there is a danger here. Like, I don't think it's a good thing. I do think it's well intentioned again, but I don't think it's worth the cost, you know. Interesting. Guitar Arthur says, I think One American News signed it. Okay. Huh. That's it. All right, House Judiciary Committee seeks Jack Smith's testimony and notes his deputies Jay Bratt and Thomas Wyndham pleaded the fifth and asserted grand jury secrecy. Huh. Oh, Pavel Durov. Telegram sent this message to all users in France regarding chat control. People must know the names of those who try to steal their freedoms. The EU nearly banned your right to privacy. It was set to vote on a law that would force apps to scan every private message, turning everyone's phone, into a spying tool. Wow. France led the push for this authoritarian law. Both former and current Interior Ministers Bruno Retailleau and Laurent Nunez supported it. Last March, they declared that police should see French citizens' private messages. The Republicans and Macron's Renaissance group voted for it. Such measures are supposed to fight crime, quote unquote, but their real target is regular people, of course. It wouldn't stop criminals. They could just use VPNs or special websites to hide. Officials and police messages wouldn't be scanned either, since the law conveniently exempts them from surveillance. Only you, ordinary citizens, would face the danger of your private messages and photos being compromised. Today we defended privacy. Germany's sudden stand saved our rights. Oh. But freedoms are still threatened while French leaders push for total access to private messages. The basic rights of French people and all Europeans remain in danger. Oh yeah. So I guess it didn't pass? It's what seemed to be inferred there. Germany, I guess, stood up at the end and shut it down. a stay of execution, I guess, for the time being. Early round setback for the Justice Department in its criminal case against James Comey. Judge rejects U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan's request to limit Comey's access to protected materials in the case. I mean, I don't think that's that surprising, though. Depending on what the material is. I think in most cases they're gonna let the defendant have access to it to properly defend themselves. You know, I would certainly hope it would be the case if I were in the defendant's chair. Imagine the U.S. Attorney's Office knows this, of course, and has planned for it. State Department employee allegedly removed classified documents and met with Chinese officials. Oh, how nice. Who dis? Justice Department says Ashley Tellis was a subject matter expert on India and South Asian affairs. Ashley Tellis, seen here, I guess. This guy, Ashley, right then. Oh wow, he lives like right next to me, pretty much. During a search of his Vienna, Virginia home, authorities found more than 1,000 pages of documents marked top secret and secret. Ooh. Well, there he is after apparently gaining some weight. I guess he must have been getting paid or something. Clearly eating well. Allegedly printed U.S. Air Force documents concerning military aircraft capabilities. Federal prosecutors alleged that he met with Chinese government officials multiple times over the past several years. Wow, dude. Yikes. He met with Chinese officials at a Virginia restaurant. Was it a Chinese restaurant? They're everywhere here. At a Virginia restaurant while holding a manila envelope, prosecutors said during a meeting on April 11th, 2023. Tellis and Chinese officials were heard talking about Iranian and Chinese relations and emerging technologies while dining at a restaurant. Always with the restaurants, man. How many freaking restaurants did this guy meet at? Look at him. Over the course of just a few years. I mean, look. That's a pretty significant weight gain. He must have been meeting every day. You got to order no MSG, man. No MSG. All right. Well, that sounds interesting. Let me see if we can find any more on that. It was a rather brief story, so. Come on. What's the skinny on this third bag? Well, it's, I guess, pretty fresh, so not much out there yet.
Scrolling, have y'all heard about the State Department employee and who was also a contractor for the Pentagon that was caught leaking top secret and secret classified intelligence to the Chinese government and was also caught receiving money for passing on that classified documents? And
yep, he was getting paid. Ooh.
This wasn't just nothing. I mean, this was documents on our airplanes and technologies and everything that he was passing for years to the Chinese government. And of course, he was a
really wonder how common this is.
Policy specialist in Eastern Asia and on Eastern Asia areas. So thank goodness they finally caught him. I mean, this guy's been doing this stuff since they've got evidence going back to 2013 or 2009 since he's been there. So there's no telling how long this has been going on. And they found thousands and thousands of pages at his house in a raid. So luckily, this guy is now in jail, and there's no way he'll be able to leak any more classified intelligence to one of our largest enemies, the Chinese Communist Party. So let me know y'all's thoughts there in the comments. And
wow, yeah. Well, hopefully we learn some more here pretty soon. Sounds like an interesting case. Okay. What's next? What's next? Boo. All right, hold on. There we go. As the Pentagon decides to follow through with its threat to Revoke the press passes of any journalist and or media organization that refuses to sign today's pledge. Then, yep, look at that. One American News may indeed end up being the only remaining news outlet in the Pentagon press corps as of Wednesday. That's nuts. That is wild. I'm actually kind of surprised that they signed it, to be perfectly honest, based on what I know about it. I would think they would recognize the danger inherent in something like that. It might certainly do what it's intended to do right now under the current admin, but where does it go from there? That's right, Javier Milei visited the White House today. With that hair. Afuela!
Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor to have the leader of Argentina, a place that I love, I've been to, and one of the most beautiful places in the world, president. And I really want to thank you very much. He's MAGA all the way. It's make Argentina great again. I heard about him when he was campaigning, and even before his campaign. He's a great economist, and he was saying a lot of very correct things, and he was very much in a conservative mode. And I heard all about you as you were running and even before you were running, because as a tremendously talented economist, you were getting a lot of good write-ups, and I appreciated that. But he was make Argentina great again. It worked. I actually sent him some hats for his early part of the campaign, and then he called me and wanted a lot more. And I said, when does it stop? When will it stop? And it stopped with him winning. And he's become very popular, and he's on the verge of a breakthrough, I think. I think he's really on the verge of tremendous economic success, and I know that Scott Bessent is helping, and our great Scott is doing a job, and he feels very strongly about it. And
okay. More here.
We've been criticized by a couple of American Peronists, like Senator Warren. And you know, she.
It's a compliment. She has no idea what she's doing. She's a nasty, horrible senator. Go ahead. Other than that, I like her very much.
Yeah, and she and her protege in New York, Mandami, who I don't even think he's a Peronist. I think he's more the communist Chauvinismo. We've been criticized by a couple of American.
That's fantastic.
Milei presents the president with a framed letter nominating him for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Thank you.
That's great.
And when he did this letter, Mr. President, your settlement in the Middle East wasn't done. So we had to do a new letter
Let's do that.
to include that, because this is a very important.
You have to add one extra sentence.
Exactly.
That's great. Thank you very much. This is a great, such a beautiful statement. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. Thank you. That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
And when he did this letter, Mr. President.
But I just want to say it's a pleasure to be with you, and we're going to have lunch, and we'll take a couple of questions from the news, and I'm sure they'll be extremely non-hostile and friendly.
We're going to take questions? Good.
Like JD went through a very friendly interview with George Slobodanopoulos, who was nice enough to pay me $16 million the last time we came. He had to pay $16 million to me,
great.
which was good. It was worth having somebody lie. If you get $16 million, that's good. But JD had a very nasty person interviewing him, and we can't let that happen. Just as inappropriate to cut off a highly respected vice president of the United States mid-sentence. I guess it's one way to win an argument. That was the only way he was going to win the argument. So it was pretty inappropriate, I want to tell you that. But I just want to say it's a pleasure to be with you. And I like the dollar. I'm very strong on the
Commenting on BRICS here.
dollar. And anybody who wants to deal in dollars, they have an advantage over people that aren't. But for the most part, we're keeping it that way. I think if Biden would have, Biden, that group would have gotten like a mini Kamala, you wouldn't have the dollar as your currency anymore. You wouldn't have a world domination by the dollar if I didn't win this election. And now the domination like BRICS. Anybody wants to be in BRICS, that's fine, but we're going to put tariffs on your nation. Everybody dropped out. They're all dropping out of BRICS. BRICS was an attack on the dollar. And I said, you want to play that game, I'm going to put tariffs on all of your product coming into the U.S. They said, like I said, we're dropping out of BRICS. And BRICS is like, they don't even talk about it anymore. I like the dollar. I'm very strong on the dollar.
Very strong.
Your ABC fake news.
Your ABC fake news.
First of all, congratulations. I take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead. Yes.
Jolly good fun. Commenting on Alyssa Farah now. Oh yeah, wasn't she supposed to like put on a MAGA hat for a day if he got all the hostages released, which he did?
Alyssa Farah, she is one of the hosts.
She hasn't done it yet.
On ABC's show The View. She said a while back, I'll quote, "If Trump gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on this show and say thank you for doing it." Your response.
Will she do it?
Did she put the hat on?
Well, she hasn't got the hat yet.
Who is it? Which one?
Oh, he'll have to send her one.
Okay. Well, she used to work for me. So she used to work here.
You should send her one.
I'll tell you about Alyssa. She worked here. She gave me the most beautiful letter when, the administration, the time came up, the election was rigged, I left. She gave me the most beautiful letter you've ever seen. I was a great president. What a great job. Some of the letters have been quoted. This is Alyssa, who I never thought was very outstanding. I figured she would not make it. And she didn't have a big role here either. And then we had January 6th, and she left after that or before that. But she gave me the most beautiful letters. And then even months after she left, and while we weren't here any longer, she sent another letter, glowing letter, beautiful letter. And then she got hired by The View, and they gave her a couple of bucks, and she changed her view very quickly. I never thought she'd make it. Never thought she had what it took in any way. You know what that means. But she's on The View. But it just shows what a fraud The View is, because this woman gave me letters and statements. She said I was the greatest president in her lifetime. Now, she's not that old, so I didn't consider it a great compliment, but I've had better.
Can we send her a hat?
Well, recently I've had the greatest president of them all. I like that much about her.
Commenting on Hamas. They will disarm, and if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
They're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games. Okay? Now, we did something monumental. We got the hostages back. That was the first thing we had to do. Above all else, get the hostages back. Now, they misrepresented because we were told they had 26, 24 of dead hostages, if we can use those terms. And it seems as though they don't have that because we're talking about a much lesser number. But that's a very tough subject. I want them back. That's what they said. I want them back. Also, they said they were going to disarm. And initially speaking, they needed, they did take out a couple of gangs that were very bad, very, very bad gangs, and they did take them out, and they killed a number of gang members. And that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. It's a couple of very bad gangs. It's no different than other countries. Like Venezuela sent their gangs into us, and we took care of those gangs. We have Washington, D.C., is one of the safest cities in the country. It was one of the worst cities in the country if you go back just a little while ago, right? Now it's safe. You can walk to work. Isn't it nice? But we have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes. You say
because you always, everyone says, oh, well, they won't disarm. They will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's what they told me. They will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it?
Okay. Oh, by the way, please do, if you have not yet, hit the like button over on YouTube. Make sure I've done it myself. Nope, I haven't. There we go. Yeah, please do hit it. Even if you are watching on other platforms, you're watching on DLive, Rumble, please pop over there and hit that thumbs up. Much appreciate it. I'll drop the link. There we go. And for those of you on YouTube, don't forget when this show is over to go watch on DLive or Rumble. You can watch us around the clock. We still broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just not on YouTube for the time being. All right, let's see. Up next on the shutdown.
That's why they keep the government closed. They have a shutdown based on nonsense. They want to give away 1.5. Think of it. They want to give away $1.5 trillion to people that come into the country illegally. And as you know, the borders now are closed. But when they hear that they get the greatest health care package in the world and they have no money, but they're living okay in another country, they head up and they start forming caravans and they try and come into our country. But the big problem is they want to give health care to people that should not get health care. They want to give health care to illegal immigrants by the millions. Look at Gavin Newsom, what he's done. He's ruined California, gives health care to anybody. And I guess they do it for votes. I actually think it's bad politics, but I guess they do it for votes. That's why they keep the government closed. They have a shutdown based on nonsense. They want to give away. I actually have a man who is a very wealthy person. You'll know that when I tell you this. Who called a donor, a great gentleman, and he said, if there's any money necessary, shortfall, for the paying of the troops, then I will pay it, meaning he will pay it. How about that? I said, look, we're not going to need it. We're going to take care of our troops. But this was a position that's being forced upon us by Democrats. And all they have to do is just sign a piece of paper saying we're going to keep it going the way it is. You know, there's nothing. It's not like it shouldn't even be an argument. They've signed it many times before. I don't want to bore you with the fact that Schumer said 100 times, you should never close up government. But Schumer's a weakened politician. I mean, he's going to finish his career as a failed politician. He's a failed politician. He's allowed the radical left to take over the Democrat Party. So if they write books about that, if they write books about him, they're going to have to say that his career ended by allowing the radical left to take over the party. I mean, I won an election in a landslide because people are not into the radical left, and the Democrat Party is.
Okay.
I'd love to go to Argentina. I'd like to be.
I would too. Now that you mention it, sir. I would too. Looks like a beautiful country.
Like Biden. I'd like to go to
our southern hemisphere.
To the beach. You know? My legs are not quite as thin as his. My legs are slightly heavier.
Where toilets swirl the other way.
My arms are slightly larger. My body is a little bit larger than his. I'm not sure it would be appreciated on the beach, but I'm not going to take a chance. You won't see me in a bathing suit. You won't see a bathing suit sitting on a beach in Argentina, falling down, not being able to lift a 3-ounce chair, meant for old people to lift it. He couldn't lift it, so he had a problem. He spent too much time on the beach. Somebody told him that he looked good in a bathing suit.
Kidding me? What?
And you'd see this guy on the beach all the time. I never quite understood. I'd love to go to Argentina.
Idiot said that. Hegseth here. On the okay, so he's commenting here on the new Pentagon press policies. Let's see what he says.
Well, I very much appreciate the question because it was interesting to watch. We had a chance to go along on the historic trip of Middle East peace, which our generation of veterans never dreamed would be possible. So you would think that the Pentagon press corps of all press corps would be front and center across the board on wanting to give credit to the president for forging this kind of peace, and instead what they want to talk about is a policy about them, which simply says maybe the policy should look like the White House or other military installations where you have to wear a badge that identifies that you're press, or you can't just roam anywhere you want. It used to be, Mr. President, the press could go anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the Pentagon, the most classified area in the world. Or also that if they sign on to the credentialing, they're not going to try to get soldiers to break the law by giving them classified information. So it's common sense stuff, Mr. President. We're trying to make sure national security is respected, and we're proud of the policy. Well, I very much appreciate the question because it was interesting to watch. We had a chance.
Okay, Trump on the shutdown again.
Honestly, can I put it in plain words for you? And you're a smart guy, so you'll understand, but a lot of people don't. The Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being, and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before. So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let them come back. The Democrats are getting killed. And we're going to have a list of them on Friday, closing up some of the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist, we're saving that for New York, but semi-communist programs, and we're closing them up. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, nobody, well, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it, but so we are closing up Democrat programs that we think that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again.
Oh, all right. Sounds good to me. Carry on then. Oh yeah, Politico leaking messages from some young Republican chat. I don't know where this is from exactly, but leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. Saying, well, just typically inflammatory stuff that young people have always said, to be honest. It's silly. This is upcoming vote on whether he should become the chair of the Young Republican National Federation, GOP's 15,000-member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. They've got chapters all over the place in most major cities. Wonder if anyone I know got caught up in this. I know some of the DC Young Republican crowd. Ubuntu claims the release of the chat is part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax. Led by Gavin Wax? What? In the New York City Young Republican Club? An allusion to a once obscured internecine war that has now spilled into the open. So he's claiming that this is coming from Gavin Wax, who's a pretty prominent voice in the young Republican crowd. You often see him on various media shows, news networks. Interesting. Well, I know who to ask about this. I'll report back another day. Curious to hear what they have to say. Okay, breaking. Standoff between DHS agents and leftists has broken out. This is 3 hours ago or so in Chicago.
Again, when you first got on scene and you were able to talk to some neighbors and some witnesses that were on the scene and describe to us what initially...
Judy, wait 1 second. I see Chicago police are arriving and putting themselves in the middle of the situation right now. It appears there might be someone in command, from what I can see, approaching the area. I'm not sure if this is in an attempt to start dispersing the crowds. But we have just in the last few seconds seen Chicago police who had remained at bay now starting to put themselves in the middle of the, oh God, protesters are starting
oh God.
to throw rocks. We're going to get away from the scene right now, Judy.
Okay, Michelle, you take care of yourself. I'm going to let her get off the phone. We really appreciate it. Get to a safe place. So what you're watching, what you continue to watch, is exactly what Michelle has been describing. This, again, at the intersection 105th and Avenue N. Last Michelle said as protesters started throwing rocks, and you can see that there is some chemical being deployed right there at this intersection. Just prior to this, you did see what appeared to be Chicago police officers and some commanders there trying to have some type of a dialogue with...
Yeah, they tried. You can see the these fellows kind of going up here trying to like calm down the crowd.
There might be
this guy right here.
Someone in command, from what I can see, approaching the area. I'm not sure if this is in an attempt to start dispersing.
Didn't work.
Throwing rocks, and this is the end result. Earlier, we had heard that there were pepper balls being sprayed into the crowd because someone had thrown eggs, or some neighbors had thrown something at the agents, and now reports of rocks being thrown.
Of course.
And that was coming from Michelle, a reporter right there on the ground. She has now gotten off the phone with us. They're trying to get to a safer place, of course, but we can continue to watch this picture. Fortunately, with Chopper 7 up in the air, we can still continue to monitor what is happening here. Again, if you are just joining us here on stream, this situation has been very tense for the last, maybe about 40 minutes.
Insanity. Madness. Rep Anna Paulina Luna. What kind of loony stuff we got here? My office just received word from the Russian embassy that the ambassador from Russia to the United States will be hand-delivering the government of Russia's findings on who assassinated JFK to my office. This is a 350-page document. We'll be uploading these documents as soon as we receive them, working with Jefferson Morley, ex-Washington Post reporter, I guess, to ensure that the American people have direct access to them immediately. It is important to note that Congress attempted to obtain these files in the 90s and was denied. We've been given access to them now for the first time in history. Interesting. Okay. I think it obviously is going to have to be taken with a rather large grain of salt or two, but still, not that that's much different from our own government. Could definitely be some interesting morsels in there. All right. Democratic Party volunteers were reportedly handing out "Is he dead yet?" bracelets to people attending the Oshkosh Farmers Market in Wisconsin.
It's hate speech.
Normalizing dehumanization, objectification, and just nonchalant talk of death and murder and killing of one's opponents. It's disturbing.
I mean, it's literally wishing death on somebody, which is inappropriate in any scenario.
Katie Neubauer says she and her family were enjoying their Saturday morning at the Oshkosh Farmers Market this past weekend. But things took a turn, she says, when her 8-year-old child was handed a bracelet from a member of the Winnebago County Democratic Party's booth.
The guy behind the tent table said, "Hey, give this to your mom. She's going to really want this." And one of the children comes running up, gives us the bracelet, and we're looking at it, and it literally says, "Is
he dead yet?"
He dead yet on the bracelet.
Neubauer and the Republican Party of Winnebago County assumed this was a hate speech reference to President Donald Trump. Fox 11 was unable to get a photo of the bracelets. We've been working to get questions answered by the County Democratic Party. The Winnebago County Democratic Party's office is locked, and a sign says that it's closed for Columbus Day. I also called them, but they said everyone is on vacation and no one can do an interview. Fox 11 also reached out to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. It declined an interview, but instead the party's communications director, Philip Schulman, texted us a statement that reads, "The materials brought by a volunteer without the authorization of the party are not in line with our values, and we regret this happened." The Republican Party says this type of material is concerning and point to the September 10th assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk as a reminder that political violence and hate speech cannot be tolerated.
We are at a time in our country where political violence is at an all-time high, and to have one of the major parties out there continuing to perpetuate it would be very sad.
The Oshkosh Farmers Market tells Fox 11 it received about 10 complaints from customers about the bracelets. Market manager Michelle Schmid-Schultz also confirmed it was the Winnebago County Democratic Party's booth handing out the materials. She says while the market respects everyone's freedom of speech, hate speech is not permitted.
We do have a vendor code of conduct and rules and regulations on how items are to be handed out at the farmers market, and they did break market rules.
She says the Winnebago County Democratic Party has been talked to about the bracelets. Despite breaking code of conduct, the organization will be allowed to set up for future markets. In Oshkosh, Tony Langfellow, Fox 11 News.
All right. Yeah, Javier Milei handing the letter. Letter nominating for the Nobel Peace Prize. Trump is now considering terminating business across multiple industries with China because of their hostile economic activities. Ooh. I believe that China is purposefully not buying our soybeans and causing difficulty for our soybean farmers. It's an economically hostile act. We're considering terminating business with China having to do with cooking oil and other elements of trade as retribution. As an example, we can easily produce cooking oil ourselves. We don't need to purchase it from China. Why do we? Honestly, silly.
Hey, I don't think you should be dressed as Santa.
Why not?
It's confusing to children who think you're Santa. You're mixing politics.
What about men who dress like...
I don't care!
Wait, what?
You're confusing to kids!
Don't yell in front of kids. Don't yell in front of children.
No, I'm okay with yelling. We can keep walking. This is like a place where kids are walking
by. That's great. Delusional. All right.
Trump administration has revoked the visas of at least 50 politicians and government officials in Mexico as part of its crackdown against drug cartels and their suspected political allies. According to Reuters, the politicians and officials are members of the country's ruling Morena party, headed by Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, along with dozens from other parties. Wow. Their names haven't been publicly confirmed, but at least
50 politicians having their visas revoked by the Trump admin.
4 officials have acknowledged losing visas.
Mexican politicians.
A State Department official did not confirm the report, but said that visas can be revoked for a variety of reasons that violate U.S. law and other activities that run contrary to America's national interest. The official emphasized that visas are a privilege, not a right. Also, the official telling Fox News Digital that the Trump administration has had a good working relationship with the Sheinbaum government and looks forward to continuing to advance its bilateral relationship in support of the America First foreign policy agenda. The Trump administration has taken a zero-tolerance approach to drug trafficking, which is a key presidential campaign promise.
As they should. Major incident unfolding. Oh, this is probably another view of that incident we saw from the air in Chicago.
Kick it back. Kick it back. Kick it back. He's an asshole. He's an. There you go. Yeah. He's an asshole. He's an asshole. That guy was an asshole. Oh shit. He's an asshole. That's a fucked up move. That's a coward move. That's a pussy move. Oh, that's a pussy move.
Oh, they're aiming the gun.
Yeah, he is. That's a pussy move, man.
They're aiming the gun.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That was fucked up. That's a pussy move. That's. You guys are ready. You guys. That's great. They got a little baby there. Look, they took out the baby.
Border Patrol, Border Patrol.
OC, gas.
Oh, wow. So there's some kind of accident. Started the whole thing. In a car accident.
People, citizens, we saw what you did to that priest.
Yeah, that priest. Okay. The one who just happens to make a habit out of agitating on the front lines and specifically trying to get shot by like pepper balls and, you know, tries to get tased and pepper sprayed. That one, just for the cameras, that one. They're idiots. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. What a crazy scene. Woke lesbian pretending to be a pastor kicked 2 boys out for wearing Jesus Loves You shirts. Oh no. Look at that.
Jesus Loves You.
That's... Oh, it's terrifying, that shirt. Oh my goodness.
T-shirt, you get kicked out of a Pride Festival. That's what happens.
Pastor.
I'm a pastor.
No, you're not.
Of course, I believe in healing brokenness, but you will never hear about shame, judgment, or even sin at this.
Gee. I'm kind of feeling like you missed the point.
Church.
Of the entire book. Won't hear about sin even, huh? Not even sin. Well, how about that?
Right here's good, guys. Yeah, tell me your name again. I'm sorry.
Mason.
Mason is Harlan. It's a pleasure. So, are y'all here as supporters, JP? Is that a concern that y'all aren't?
Oh, we're just neutral. We're just checking it out, just talking to people.
Yeah. So the recording. Some people have been doing that to try to get clips, like what you're doing right now. Yeah.
Oh no.
To say something. So.
Yeah, I wonder what, like what? Saying something like what?
Uncomfortable for people because it doesn't feel like your energy is really your supporters, and so we want people to.
Like, I don't know, love is love.
Supporters, and for those that even if you're neutral, that's
Pedophilia is just an identity.
fine. But I'm going to ask that y'all
Like that.
this someplace else and not here.
Well, so, can I ask a question? Is that cool?
Quickly, because I've been at the end.
No, yeah, I just have a question. So when it comes to like
oh my gosh. Ugh.
content, what you guys do, like,
oh dear.
What would be the problem of just like documenting it?
So
like not because we're not bashing it, we're not holding signs. Like,
I hear you. And this right here, it's just concerned. It's just makes people uncomfortable. This is for folks. So I'm going to ask y'all again. Why didn't y'all do the property? That's the second time, gentlemen. I'm asking you to do the property, please.
Well, I
Thank
was
y'all
just
so much.
I was just
But that
wondering what was the issue exactly.
It's just obvious that y'all, it's obvious that y'all are not here as supporters, and so if
How so?
that's fine.
What's the
then
obvious?
we would like to be, guys. I'm not no more.
No, ma'am. I'm just asking.
Free pastor hugs.
You're really gracious. You would say.
Free grooming and physical contact. Oh.
No, I'm just asking, like what did I exemplify or do or say that would make you think we're not?
I'll end y'all's conversation. You go back in. At this point, though, she's with the church leadership. She asked you to leave, so you're criminally trespassing now. So we'll have to advise her to leave.
Yeah. Wow. That's disturbing. Yeesh. Oh, neato. Final descent and splashdown of Starship on Flight 11. The Indian Ocean. Dang, look at that. Wow. Wow. Dropping below the cloud line. There it goes. Wow. It's nuts. That's crazy. Pretty wild. Wow. That is so cool. That is amazing. Second Freedom Flag Charlie Kirk dedication mural on the side of a barn. Neato. That's pretty cool. Good for her. All right. Well, let's see. We're at the top of the hour, and it's Tuesday. I don't know who's. I guess it would be LC Mac. I don't recall if he's got something he's got to be doing today. Let me check and see if he said something. Have a look here. Okay, LC. Might just be he hasn't popped in yet. I don't know. Nope. I just see him mentioned Saturday, so expect he should be in. Okie dokie. Well, in the meantime, we'll keep going. Oh no, pardon me. Tuesday's Dano's old slot. Sorry, I think it's Thursday. Thursday's LC, right? Yeah, Thursday's LC. My bad. So, I guess we don't have anyone. I don't have anyone for the next 2 hours. If anyone happens to be listening in out there and feels like popping in to take the wheel, more than welcome to. If not, I can find my way. I'll find something to put on here. Oh, in fact, you know what? Give me a second. I was watching this fascinating documentary series. Let's see. It appears that it has not been hit by copyright on anything, any music or anything, so. Oh, no, it has. Yeah, it does. Little. Unfortunately, we can't play that. I mean, we could, but it would demonetize the video. Not that that matters at this point, just yet. Speaking of, how's that going? Probably still waiting on YouTube here. Let's see. Studio, I bet they haven't done it yet. Takes up to like a month, apparently. Yeah, still in review, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, what about this one? Got any copyright hits here? No. I guess it doesn't really matter. So, you know, we're not monetized yet anyway. At least as far as this video is concerned. I mean, it can get murky with other videos. Like some music, YouTube is okay. Other music, like they don't have the rights for, and they will yank your video and your channel for if you put it up there. This one has been up for quite some time. 4 years without issues, so we can check some of this out. Fascinating. This is an Adam Curtis documentary from 2021. Multi-part. It's like 6 parts, five or 6 parts. Can't get you out of my head. This is just fascinating. I love his films. Really excellent filmmaker. Makes such good use of archival footage and music and sound and everything. I just love how he does things.
We are living through strange days. Across Britain, Europe and America, societies have become split and polarized, not just in politics, but across the whole culture. There is anger at the inequality and the ever-growing corruption, and a widespread distrust of the elites. Yet at the same time, there is a paralysis, a sense that no one knows how to escape from this. Even in America, where there is now hope with the new president, there are also fears that despite the growing crisis, the system will just return to normal. This paralysis is also fueled by a technology driven by the aim of giving you today another version of what you had yesterday, and never a different tomorrow. These films are a history of how we got to this place, and why both those in power and we find it so difficult to move on. They will trace different forces across the world that have led to now, not just in the West, but in China and Russia as well. And they are told in a different way. They are an emotional history of what went on inside the heads of all kinds of people. Because in the age of the individual, what you felt and what you wanted and what you dreamed of were going to become the driving force across the world. And to understand the present, you have to go back and see what happened when those hopes and dreams and uncertainties inside people's minds met the much older forces of power. Often power that was decaying and desperate to keep its ascendancy. These strange days did not just happen. We, and those in power created them together.
I'd love how he strings things together. Just everything about how his films work. Fascinating. Interesting.
In the late 1950s, as the British Empire was falling apart, there was a growing sense that something was badly wrong under the surface. There was a feeling of unease, that despite all the reforms after the Second World War and the welfare state, the old forms of power had not gone away. And neither had the violence and the corruption that had always been a part of that power.
The court opens with a traditional reading of names, and the wide experience available to the bank is apparent.
Mr. Cobbold, Mr. Miners, Sir Charles Hambro.
Senior Director, Merchant.
The bankers in the City of London had been at the very heart of the empire. In 1958, two of the most powerful of them, Lord Kindersley and William Keswick, were accused of using insider information to make millions for themselves.
Lord Kindersley.
Chairman of Rolls-Royce, merchant banker.
Mr. Keswick.
Hudson's Bay Company, a Far Eastern merchant.
The evidence against them was very strong. But when Keswick was shown the evidence, he dismissed it with a phrase that became notorious. It is difficult, he said, to remember conversations one has while shooting on a grouse moor. A government inquiry said the two men were obviously innocent. At the same time, reports had started to come back from one of the last parts of the empire, Kenya, that seemed to show that those in charge had gone out of control. They had been fighting a liberation movement called the Mau Mau. The reports said that hundreds of thousands of Kenyans had been put into special camps where they were going to be psychologically adjusted. The British were trying to manipulate what their chief psychologist called the African mind. But what then happened in the camps turned into a frenzied madness. The British used mass torture and killing as they desperately tried to hold on to power. The government in London denied all the accusations, but the rumours of violence and horror continued. And what had also not gone away was the fear and hatred inside the minds of many of the British of the others, the people the British had ruled over, who were now coming to what they had been told was the homeland.
Yeah, who told them that, I wonder? The same elite seen sitting around that table. Yeah. I'll drop the link to this. This is actually an excellent series. Let me pop it out there. Chat. Good. All right. Let's see where else we can go until, well, I don't know. Until someone comes on. Who's on next? Mo comes on at 9. Okay. Ooh, well, what did we miss today? Over to the White House. I'm gangling with the brats yesterday. Suppose I'll go ahead and take the YouTube feed down now. We've gotten through the day's news and just filling an unfilled time slot for now. So, speaking of, oh, by the way, yeah, if anyone would like to jump into the ring and take a time slot, please email 80s Aaron at 80s.aaron@protonmail.com, and she'll make it super easy for you. She'll run you through how to get set up and how to use Zoom and all the things you'll need to know how to use. You'd certainly use some people to fill some time. Always. You can always make room. So. I know we already have a good handful of people, like 3 or 4 people lined up in the works, set to meet with her, I think this weekend to do a run through on training. So if anyone else is interested, may as well get on in there and join her. All right. That does it for YouTube, folks. We will keep going on DLive and Rumble. And I will be back. Let's see. Tomorrow evening. Yeah, tomorrow at 5. I'm still not going anywhere. I'll be here to kind of manage this whenever this video runs up, and I'll come back and figure out something else to put on. But I'm sorry, I got stuff I got to do upstairs, so. All right, bye YouTube. See ya. Here goes.